You missed quite a scrap, gentlemen, and an opportunity to slay a monarch. There was a struggle and the prince was wounded.
You've all seen the magical phenomenon covering the battlefield. For any who still have doubts, this is no mundane mist, nor a petty fairground illusion. Most likely, we're up against a blood curse, an old and powerful spell. We do not know who cast it or why. For now, I have one piece of good news and several pieces of bad news. The good news is that Henselt and his army have been halted for the time being.
And the bad news?
The mist will grow. It may even engulf Vergen. Furthermore, wraiths may emerge from it.
Can they be made penitent? With an axe to the head?
In theory, yes. But I would suggest putting your faith in a silver weapon. Furthermore, the ghosts will weaken as they move away from the mist.
Is there any way to drive it off? Exorcise it?
A question for myself and Geralt of Rivia.
The Kingslayer?
Contrary to what old women at the wells say, he did not, in fact, slay any kings.
Of course he didn't. Wouldn't hurt a fly, that one. Look at his eyes. You'll see he's the sensitive kind.
Whatever you may see in his eyes, few know more about lifting curses. Gentlemen, I do not require you to understand this phenomenon, but there are a few rules I insist you must follow.
Here we go.
No one is to approach the mist. It is mortally dangerous. In addition, we need to learn the story of the battle. For this, I especially count on the aid of Mr. Cecil Burden.
At your service, milady.
Thank you. To lift the curse, we require some objects symbolic of the war. Ones belonging to those who perished here 3 years past.
Pfft! More scrap iron from that massacre lying about than lice in Cecil's beard. I thought curses were best handled with...
Please leave the thinking to me, Mr. Zigrin, and I'd gladly hear less from you from now on. The objects must be magically active and strictly linked to the ghosts of the fallen. That is all.
Let me be clear. You're all to aid Philippa and the Witcher. What are you grumbling about now, Yarpen?
It's something in my gullet.
Take a swig of wine. Now, to worldly matters. How many are we?
Saskia, you know well...
How many?
We dwarves are near 200, but don't judge us by our number.
1,500 peasants will come, though you'll get no precise count.
My lords?
53 knights and another 200 armed men. Not enough.
Henselt leads 5,000, 5 to 1 against us. What think you of that?
We are few, they are many, but we have our walls, low though they be. If we had archers, who knows?
Oh, for a regiment of heavy arbalists from Lyria.
We have something better. Yorvith's elves. Scoia'tael. Gentlemen, I give you Yorvith.
What do you seek here, murderer?
100 of the North's best archers await your orders, Dragon Slayer.
You wished for archers? Here they are. I take no pleasure in fraternizing with elves. But even a shit-coated stick can be a weapon. He burned down the villages of many in my horde.
The free peasantry is one thing, but a criminal with a price on his head in all the northern realms? This is too much.
Saskia, say the word and we'll depart.
Hear me out. Yorvith came to fight for me. I trust him, and I know that he'll stay the course. Just like each of you.
How could you know that? He's an elf! Treason runs in his veins!
He's been fighting humans for a century.
But for the first time in scores of years, his fight makes sense. The Scoia'tael know no peace. They've died for Nilfgaard, for the Valley of the Flowers, in vain. They've been betrayed and cheated. Now they have a new goal. The Pontar Valley could be the first state where no man would have to fear elven arrows when venturing beyond city walls. And elves and dwarves wouldn't live in ghettos or on reservations. First, however, we have a battle to win. You know who we're up against. It's a splendid army, brave and well led. They cannot be scared off or routed. They have to be killed. I want Yorveth to sit at the same table as we do. I want him to kill Cadwenny for us. And I assure you that he'll do so with a smile, if only you let him.
If I'm to see a smile on that skinny face, I'm in. Yorveth stays.
Bloody hell! Father's turning in his grave, but a must's a must. I say aye.
Nay, you killed my men, Elf. Remember them?
If I hadn't killed them, they'd have killed me.
All right. For the sake of better times, and for Kedwin's doom, aye!
Down with the sons of bitches! Cheers! Did you read into the mist? Sorry. Where are my manners? Sheldon Skaggs, veteran of the battles of Sodden and Brenna.
And all inns along the way.
You've already met Vergen's elder?
Greetings. Gentlemen, not sure about you, but my throat's parched from all these greetings.
Funny. Those were the first words out of your mouth.
Master Dandelion's right. Around for everyone! On me!
I'll gladly wash the road's dust from my throat, especially in such good company.
Too bad Caleb Stratton's not here. May he rest in peace.
A worthy dwarf he was. Here's to him.
Sheldon, you're lagging behind.
I've got a little screw coming tonight.
More reason to drink makes you more vigorous.
My prick withers like an old crone's tits if I drink.
Tie a carrot to it.
So, what brings you here, Geralt?
Ever heard of a unit called the Dun Banner? Apparently they left their standard behind during the last war. I need to find it if I'm to lift the curse.
Aye, the standard lies in a crypt with those of the unit who perished here.
Where's this crypt?
Not the easiest place to find. Turn right past the market and look for a passage carved right through the rocks. That'll lead you to a valley filled with tombs and crypts. To the fallen!
Why are you dwarves fighting for Saskia?
If I had a knack for business, I'd be sitting on my arse in my own inn, not giving a shit for this war. But what's my trade? Axe swinging. That's what. And if I could get killed, I'd rather know what I'm risking my neck for.
The woman's cuckoo, ready to spit in the Emperor's face even. Well, I have to admit, she knows all about warcraft. And damn it, she's right. Free Vergen, no matter if you're a dwarf, man or mangy elf.
Do you hear him, Zigrin? Down on the elves already. And I bet he wouldn't sniff at 30 additional archers in battle.
Have you ever heard of a plant called the Dwarven Immortelle?
Have we? The pigs have tight arses.
To tell the truth, I've no idea, Skaggs.
Well, it's just a saying.
You're the only one using it.
Witcher, the Immortelle. It appears most often near anthracite and aluminosilicate deposits.
Philippa needs it to heal Saskia.
A rare curio, but there's a mine nearby, and who knows? You might find it deep underground.
Is the mine far?
Not at all. It's in Verger itself, in the town's upper quarter.
You're eager for this expedition, but nobody told the Witcher that the mine's closed.
Closed, that's true. But it's long overdue a cleaning. Weed out all the underground shit.
What are you talking about?
Not a month ago, miners started disappearing. Must have tapped the wrong vein and woken some scum from the deep. We wanted to send a crew of stout fellows in, but Saskia said she needs all the soldiers she can find up top and ready to defend the town. We closed the shaft, fearing the filth would emerge and overrun us all.
Looks like we arrived just in time. Hey, Geralt?
So it seems. Let's go.
Right on. With this crew, we needn't fear any monster. How about you, Sheldon? You coming with us, or staying around to get your fuck?
Another chance like this won't come around in a hurry. Fucking can wait. I'm with you.
Let's meet at the mine's entrance.
Very hot. When Van de Grift attacked in the afternoon, he sent a dun banner at the fore. Many of our lads shit themselves at the mere sight of their standard, but we had a surprise of our own. Under the cover of night, we prepared fire pits. Our archers lit them up at the right moment. I still can't believe we managed to fool their scouts. If it wasn't for that ambush, we wouldn't be speaking today. They likely wouldn't be in Upper Eddern at all. We decimated the Dun banner, but that was only the beginning. Seltkirk was our commander. Everywhere he appeared, the Kidwennies gave ground. He wreaked havoc among them. Hearts rose at the mere sight of his armour. Then Van de Grift himself entered the fray. Seltkirk met him in the middle of the field. In the end, Van de Grift killed Seltkirk. A terrible death that sent the Edirnian ranks into disarray. I thought it was the end of us. Then the sky fell, as if the stars themselves had decided to avenge the death of a great knight. Fire covered the battlefield. Nobody sought the enemy. They were all looking for somewhere to flee. Yes, there were no more friends and enemies, only the living and the dead. They say it was the doing of a Kidwenny sorceress who wanted revenge on Van de Grift. Could be true, as Henselt had her executed right after the battle.
You captured the Dun banner standard?
Henselt's choice troops, and not a one survived. The visitors sent them to their deaths, refused to give them reinforcements. He was a monster in human form. The men of the Dun were real swaggerers. Killed a lot of our lads, but for every Dunner, there were 7 Edirnians. They had no chance. Aye, we captured their standard. We buried what was left of them in the crypts beyond Vergen. Their standard lies with them. Worthy foes are to be respected, even in death.
I'm going to need that standard. Did you see the duel between Seltkirk and Van de Grift?
I stood half a furlong from them. Never seen a fight like it. Probably never will again. They'd already met once, at a jousting tournament in Ardcarreg. Seltkirk won there. He beat on the visitor so hard he broke his sword. Seltkirk was a true knight, the last of his breed. Van de Grift was so pissed off after that tournament he hanged the smith who made his sword and ordered a special one from a sorcerer. I bet he cut down Seltkirk with that new sword.
Van de Grift is dead. What happened to his sword?
Saskia's got it. Good thing too. Only her hand can tame the hatred enchanted in that sword. After the battle, when the flames abated, the scavengers came. They stole everything. Imagine, not a single keepsake of Seltkirk in the whole of Edirn. His brother babbled something about a gauntlet, but he's a lying dog.
You saw the Kidwennies cross the river?
From afar. I saw Van de Grift leading 4,000 heavily armed men. Many a heart sank when we saw the elite bearheads or the armoured banners from Ardcarreg. The Dun banner was in the middle, veterans of Brenna. As soon as he set foot on Edirnian land, Van de Grift climbed a hill and surveyed the area, as if it was his fief. Son of a bitch was as sure of himself as ever. Upon spying him, I remember the dwarves all dropped their trousers and showed him their asses. Then Seltkirk stepped out in front of us. His white armour shone in the sun. We were afraid a Kidwenny arbalist would shoot him, but they too stood as if frozen, and Seltkirk just looked at them and bowed ever so slightly.
You saw the Kidwennies cross the river?
From afar. I saw Van de Grift leading 4,000 heavily armed men. Many a heart sank when we saw the elite bearheads or the armoured banners from Ardcarreg. The Dun banner was in the middle, veterans of Brenna. As soon as he set foot on Edirnian land, Van de Grift climbed a hill and surveyed the area, as if it was his fief. Son of a bitch was as sure of himself as ever. Upon spying him, I remember the dwarves all dropped their trousers and showed him their asses. Then Selkirk stepped out in front of us. His white armour shone in the sun. We were afraid a kid Winnie Arbalest would shoot him, but they too stood as if frozen, and Selkirk just looked at them and bowed ever so slightly.
You saw the Kidwennies cross the river?
From afar, as soon as...
Thanks, Cecil, that was helpful. I think I know what I need to lift the curse now.
Madame Eilhard claims you need 4 symbols. The standard symbolizes death. Vandegrift's sword stands for hatred. What about the other 2?
I have a feeling Philippa has a handle on the rest.
Here's hoping you're right.
You can save Saskia.
Do you hear them? They want my head. They equate the words of some village idiot with mine. I am the heir to the Edirnian throne, the rightful ruler of this land, descendant of Demavend and Verferil.
Prince, if you help me heal Saskia, the people will forget.
If I don't help you, they'll kill me. This is blackmail.
This is a deal.
What do you want?
Did you poison her?
Of course not. Even if I had, do you think I would boast about it? Don't be a fool.
I'm trying to help. Not only Saskia, but you, Your Highness.
I won't yield to that rabble. Never. One smear is all they needed to lay siege to my doorstep. Do you really think I should plead my innocence every time some village idiot says the prince did it? Or maybe go out there and beg them for mercy? Never.
You merely need to convince them that you're innocent. Prove it wasn't you and they'll walk away.
And if I am innocent, yet lack proof thereof? You claim you wish to help me. Do so. Convince the people to believe me. You'll not regret it.
You're trying to bribe me. I need royal blood for a potion that will...
Do you mock?
You owe Saskia your life. She carried you away from the Wraith's battle.
It was her duty, as it would have been of any Edirnian. Besides, Saskia and her rebels routed the royal forces at Gillette.
Those rebels are the last hope.
And what then? A pig herd will be crowned and appoint a shoeshine his Secretary of State.
Don't think that far ahead. Your Highness, just a few drops of your blood will cure Saskia. Vergen can defend itself only if she's in command.
I've already said I owe this girl nothing. I'll not and I'll certainly not... Guards!
What is it, sir?
Show the...
Is everything...
We had a chat. Think on what I told...
I will.
Enough of this charade!
Try to be reasonable, folks. Sit down and talk in peace.
We've talked enough! Come on, lads, let's drag the prince from his hovel!
Vergen's not a cesspit for anyone to shit in. There are laws to abide, and Scalen Burden's job is to uphold them.
There's no law allowing a serf to threaten a king's scion. I, Silgrat, brother of Seltkirk, the greatest knight to walk Edirnian land, say so.
Does it matter who was born in a castle and who in a pigsty? Any fool can prejudge and condemn. It's easier to accuse than to prove guilt.
A peasant servant claims that Prince Stennis supposedly attempted to kill Saskia. Why would the prince do such a dastardly deed? Bear in mind how eminent is his lineage.
That's why! The mongrel covets the crown!
Do you even remember how valorous he was towards Saskia during the negotiations with Henselt?
Pretending to be with her he was, sly fox. Taking the simple peasants in. But us lads ain't so dumb as you lords think.
See for yourselves how the commoners hate the prince, spitting venom like adders. They hatched a plot to dispose of him.
Saskia's servant said that...
Where is this servant, might I ask? If he's got something to say, why does he hide like a thief? The answer is simple. He's a fraud.
He's hiding to save his skin from you, whoresons. Squirrels have to guard him.
One last question. How could the prince poison Saskia? It's a known fact that servants taste wine from the barrels before the virgin sips it.
No need to poison the wine. Smearing the poison inside the chalice would be enough.
I never heard of anyone poisoning a chalice.
You haven't heard much then. One of the Emperor's forebears died after sampling some lamb. He was always scared of poison and ate supper with his cook. The murderer spread poison on one side of a knife. Then he cut the meat so that only a small piece was poisoned.
The witch is right! Give us Stennis!
Saskia's got her own chalice.
It was commissioned from one of the dwarves. The order came with a very detailed drawing.
Even so, how did it come into Saskia's hand?
A good point. We can't be sure if the prince poisoned the wine.
Stennis is blowing hot and cold! Everyone knows that!
You were supposed to prove his guilt, not insult him, yokel.
Tell us who else would do it! A peasant wanting to hurt the miss? Never. It's cause of her you noble dogs can't ignore us. A pig won't cut its own throat. A peasant's not foolish enough to raise his hand against his saviour.
Perhaps it is no peasant's deed. However, that doesn't mean the prince is guilty, fool.
Answer me this. Was not Stennis' room next to Saskia's? Do not the wines come from his own lice-ridden cellar? Can he not enter the Virgin's kitchen at will? Yes! His serene dumbhead the prince can, curses on his kin. Nobody in Vergen wants to kill Saskia. And even if they wanted, nobody but Stennis could do it.
You're wrong, Colton. Reverend Olkin wanted to get rid of Saskia. He thought she was a monster at heart.
Olkin was on Stennis' leash like a dog.
How dare you, lout! Do you imagine if someone sits next to a married lady, he's surely fucking her?
The priest tried to convince Prince Stennis to join the conspiracy.
Is Stennis some dimwit foundling that he dances to a lousy priest's tune? Olcan got what he deserved when Hensel cleaved his head. Now it's Stennis' time.
There is no proof the prince agreed.
The priest asked him for admittance to the kitchen.
So he didn't poison the Virgin himself, but allowed her to be poisoned.
Those are just words. Too much guesswork and not enough evidence. You can't convict anyone based on that.
Your Highness, this is dangerous.
I'm not afraid. Fear is a commoner's trait, unfit for one with royal blood running in his veins. What do you want, to judge me? Is a prince a common thief who steals a dozen eggs at the market? You stand before royal majesty, and you raise your hands against it. In this world there are crimes that can be forgiven, and crimes that, by any means, cannot. Just as a mother killing her own child, or a man slitting his own brother's throat cannot be forgiven. A crime against one anointed by the gods themselves also cannot be condoned. He who raises hand against divine right is not worthy to walk this world. And what about he who poisons the Virgin of Edern? Firstly, Saskia is alive, so no one can blame me for her death. Secondly, you have no proof that it was I who tried to murder her. And thirdly, I assure all gathered here, I won't rise above the law. However, only she, the Virgin of Edern, can judge me. Can he? And if Saskia won't get well, who's gonna judge you? I believe she can be cured. But if the gods decide otherwise, we'll summon a coven of the wise who can pass just sentence.
Those are words worthy of a true sovereign!
I am the one you should look to for guidance. Let my deeds be the flame that lights up your darkness.
So you've forgotten how you tried to bribe me when I was at your house?
How about that, snout face?
This is slander.
There are no witnesses, Witcher.
The prince has a right to a fair trial, no matter if he's guilty or not. We can't deny him that. What will the peasants do if we hand them the prince? Will they hear him out? No. They'll hang him from the nearest tree or tear him limb from limb. What will happen if we allow a lynching? What if people see that might makes right? Who'll guarantee they won't desire to avenge their wrongs, real and imagined? Who'll protect people whose only fault is noble birth from the exasperated mob? And where will it lead?
The peasants are furious.
They didn't dare mount a frontal attack.
But they haven't forgotten about Stennis, and won't. It'll be that way until Saskia regains consciousness.
She won't keep order by strength alone.
Unless it's a great strength.
We need an authority figure, and royal blood.
5 quartz go to waste in the dwarven dungeon at the moment.
There's also Henselt.
Going into that haunted mist is madness. Stealing Stennis away would be easier.
No. Anything involving Stennis will cause a riot.
I've had enough of the peasants and nobles barking. Saskia's the best leader I know, but she can't hope to defeat Henselt's army with this rabble, which is why I'm going to get reinforcements.
Where?
4 Scoia'tael units await in hiding to the east. Time to summon them.
You'll make it in time?
I must.
Your dress seems to confirm it. Excuse you indeed. I suppose I couldn't much care. I've heard what I came to hear.
And what, pray tell, was that?
The rightful heir will ascend to the Aedirnian throne. There will be peace in the land. What more could one want?
Prince Stennis is here?
King Stennis. Crowned 2 days past in Vengerberg. Merely send a messenger here. All those present promptly agreed that he will make a good ruler.
Prince Stennis. A poisoner, coward, and schemer. He trembled with disgust when he spoke to the peasants. Disdain flowed from him like vomit. But he didn't deserve to be lynched. That was not the justice Saskia fought for. Prince Stennis I, son of Demavend III, became the 17th king of Aedirn. He won the hearts of the people. They saw him as the hope of the nation. The realm, ravaged by war, needed a ruler sensitive to the plight of his subjects. King Stennis I was just that. I see you took care of the guard.